In today's episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief, I sit down with Game Master Jay to talk all about body count, tear at camp, Hackaway, the board game. Then I'll tell you about a cool giveaway we're doing at thegiveawaygeek.com. Then we'll see what's on Kickstarter, but first, a message about our sponsors. This episode of Getting Geeky with Game Relief is proudly powered by both Phase Shift Games and Thundergriff Games, who are bringing us a new game on Kickstarter called Dungeon Drop. More to be said during Kickstarter Corner, so stay tuned for that. But make sure to check out and back Dungeon Drop on Kickstarter before the 3rd of July. This episode is proudly powered by one of our Kickstarter backers, Redwell Games, and their latest game, Six Gun Showdown, the fastest playing, tension-filled game of Wild West shootouts for ages 9 years and older. That's on Kickstarter until Friday the 5th of July. More to come within our Kickstarter Corner portion of the show. This episode is powered by Gosh Darn Bubbles from Sandwich Bag Games, which is simple to learn and play, fast and fun. So much fun, in fact, that Michael Wright, who is an unfiltered gamer, went out and got a bubble machine. So run on over and check out their Kickstarter, which we'll have a link in the show notes, or just head on over to sandwichbaggames.com, look for an interview with them, and if you're listening after that, go back and listen. Plus, be on the lookout for a giveaway over at thegiveawaygeek.com. And if you want some super fast, simple fun, make sure you back Gosh Darn Bubbles on Kickstarter before Thursday, the 20th of June. I love it when a good game hits the floor running on Kickstarter, such is the case with this game. This episode is proudly powered by Bard Games and Fickle, a fairy board game featuring the art of Amy Brown. Fickle is a quick set collection game with unique scoring and press your luck mechanics, customizable gameplay, and gorgeous art. You have 5 rounds to win the ritual of ascendancy with your fellow players by manipulating their fairy cards. Choose a fairy family to gain its power and add it to your scoring alliance. The winner must gather a single fairy from each family or shoot the moon to win with a single faction. It sounds like an awesome game, and the art as well is spectacular. Want to know more? Well, go give my interview with the designer a quick listen. In my interview entitled, Are You Fickle? You Might Be a Fairy. Then after that, make sure you go and enter their giveaway we're doing with them over at thegiveawaygeek.com, in which one winner will receive Sherlock Holmes, The Vanishing Man, Pocket General World War II, and a playmat featuring Fickle art. The prize is valued at approximately $100 USD. Most importantly though, make sure you check out their Kickstarter for Fickle that reached its funding goal in only 12 hours, and then back it before Tuesday the 18th of June.
Getting Geeky with Gamer Leaf, the podcast in which one man strives to level up his geekhood and helping you do the same, one battle at a time. Now, let's get geeky with Gamer Leaf.
During a quiet stroll through the park one peaceful evening, you're attacked from behind and knocked unconscious. You wake up blindfolded. You remove the strip of cloth from your eyes and find yourself in the middle of the forest. Directly in front of you, under the moonlight, stands a weathered, hand-painted wooden sign that reads, Camp Hackaway. Next to you is a flashlight and a note attached.
Did that sound familiar to you guys? It didn't to me either, but this is the story of Body Count, Tear at Camp Hackaway, the board game. And today we're lucky enough to have on the creator mastermind behind this game. Is that right, Game Master Jay? Is that how you fall in line with Body Count?
Word, man. What's going on?
Not too much. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us on Getting Geeky with Game Relief. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. This is really cool. Thanks for having me. I'm excited. Very nice.
Yeah, no problem. Me too. I've seen this game a couple of times, but other people may haven't. But before we jump into that, let's rewind a little bit if we could. How did you get into playing tabletop board games?
Wow. Man, well, let's see. I was 12, maybe 13 years old when I was introduced to Dungeons and Dragons, and started playing that. I played it for years. In fact, I still play. I'm still a DM. Um, and I mean, board games was a natural progression from there. Really, I'm sure I probably played board games before D&D, just here and there. But it was few and far between. From D&D came all the board games, Monopoly, and all that stuff way back in the in my heyday when I was a kid, and we used to house rules everything. In fact, I remember when I was growing up, some of the Monopoly games we would play, we'd add like a lottery to the game and other little rules of our own, and that's kind of how my developing board games kind of where that kind of came from. So,
Awesome, cool beans. And what are you playing these days?
oh man, what am I not playing? Body Count. That's one of them I'm playing. Settlers of Catan is one of my favorite ones. I love Settlers. When my son was young, he's in college now, but when he was young, we played Zombies. Um, and oh geez, Zombies and what was the other one? Apples to Apples and now what we do. Awkward Family Photos is one of my favorite games. I love that game. And I used to manage a game store.
What's that game? I never heard of that.
Awkward Family Photos. Oh yeah, that's from on the internet. There used to be I think on the Facebook they used to have a page for awkward family photos, but I think it used to be a website. But somebody started collecting all those awkward family photos. They would a game company I guess had people submit them over time, and they created a board game out of it. And Loaded Questions is another one of my favorite board games. That's more of a party game than a board game. Pandemic. I love Pandemic. Let's see, Machikoro. I'll play that one. And that's more of a card game, but I consider that a board game. So Hero Quest. When I was young, I played that, and a good friend of mine here in Michigan, he runs Eye of the Beholder Gaming Guild. Shout out to those guys. They're here in Taylor, Michigan, and his name is Aaron, and he absolutely is goo for Hero Quest. He loves Hero Quest, and I played that when I was a kid too. And he's actually got a Hero Quest board, and this board is so old. I'm surprised it's still you're still able to handle it without it falling apart. But he painted all of his miniature pieces and everything, so very, very cool. Yeah.
Awesome. And I think I heard you sneak out that you used to manage a game shop.
Yes. Yeah. I had a friend down in Missouri that used to own a few game shops, and I worked for him. He actually didn't work for Go Games. He was partnered with Go Games, Go Toys and Games, and I ran a couple of the stores for him out in Oklahoma, and worked in Missouri a few times for him. And we got to talking about one day about what we would do if we had our own games we could sell through the store exclusively, and we came up with all kinds of different ideas. Body Count was one of the ideas that I came up with, and at the time it was a card game idea at one point, and I had the cards made up on just business cards, and he loved the idea. He thought it was a great idea. When I started doing the graphics for it, he liked that the cards for the cabins looked like a cabin door, and it looked like you were shining a flashlight on it. And he said, "Dude, it's got that element of that darkness." And he said, "I really like this game. You should really develop this game." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I will." And then that was in 2011, I think, and here we are, like 8 freaking years later, and I'm finally getting around to it. So, but this isn't my first game though. My first game was STD the game.
Yeah, word on the street is you created a new game. And what can you tell us about Body Count, Terror Camp Hackaway?
Body Count. It's an escape style game, horror themed, of course. And the idea behind it is you are exploring an abandoned campground looking for an item that will allow you to escape the campground while being hunted down by a serial killer. Now, if it sounds familiar, the campground and the serial killer, this is my homage to one of the greatest horror films ever made. Of course, we all know what I'm talking about. I'm not sure if I can say the title of the movie on the show or not, so I won't. But it was a 1980 flick about a bunch of camp counselors at a campground being hunted down by a killer. So, but body count, the idea behind the whole idea of body count was it's a series of games, and what I want is each game is going to feature a different serial killer. I've got 5 chapters in the body count series that I have in mind. Chapter 1, of course, is Terror at Camp Hackaway with Hack and Hank. And then 3 others will follow that, where the players are trying to escape, be the first to escape before they're eliminated by the serial killer. And each game, like I said, will have a different serial killer. Now, the 5th game in the series, I'm going to take those 4 serial killers, and now the players get to play the serial killer in the 5th game, and the object of the game is to build your body count. How many victims can you get before the end of the game?
Awesome. Now I got to wait all the way till you get to that point. That game intrigues me.
That exactly. So got to go through 4 more chapters. So, and of course, Terror at Camp Hackaway is the first chapter, and I put this up on Kickstarter 3 times before this, and now the last time I did it, I had to cancel it. I think I had an issue with Kickstarter because for some reason I had backers actually contacting me and telling me that they couldn't find it just by scrolling through the games on Kickstarter. The only way they could reach my Kickstarter page was through a Facebook link or something. So I contacted Kickstarter and I waited to hear from them. And I thought, you know what? The longer I wait, I mean, the more I'm missing out. So I'm going to cancel it and I'm going to relaunch it. So I contacted every one of my backers and said, hey, I'm canceling it. I'm going to relaunch it. I'll let you know. And I relaunched it. And I think, I want to say maybe 80% of the backers that went from the canceled one came on to the new one. 75 to 80% of them, I believe, came on to it. I have to look at it again. But I did see some familiar faces and names. So, and I thank you for the encouragement that you gave me, some of the ideas and some of the tips and hints that you've given me.
Oh, no problem. Glad we could help. Yeah, it looks awesome. And like you said, this isn't the first time you've had it on there. So minus having that issue with Kickstarter, whatnot, what all have you changed throughout the progression of the Kickstarter campaigns?
Well, the first 2 campaigns that I did, I was doing stretch goals. And I did have some people tell me I was nuts for taking stretch goals out of it. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I felt like, I should really stick to my guns. I'm going to take these stretch goals out because I've talked to a lot of people who they'll back a project on Kickstarter with the stretch goals in mind. This is what they're looking forward to. And then when they don't hit the stretch goals, they're kind of disappointed because it's like, well, I joined this campaign because I wanted that particular stretch goal, and now I'm not going to get it. And I feel like I spent my money on something I'm not going to get. And I kind of felt like, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to do a straightforward Kickstarter campaign. That's what I want to do. It's make it simple, keep it, just keep it, uncomplicated. I go through a lot of these Kickstarter campaigns, and the pages are so long. It's so much information on 8 stretch goals and this and that, and that's fantastic. I'm not knocking that. Those people that do that, I am going to assume they're not a one-man band. They probably have a team of people putting this stuff together and everything. A lot of them are probably game companies that are already established and they know how to do this. I'm just one person. I'm one guy. And I'm the one putting this campaign together, and I can only do so much. And I'm like, I just want to keep it simple, keep it as easy as I can do it. Plus, a lot of times those stretch goals, I haven't experienced it myself, so I could be wrong, but I've read a lot of stories and people, writing up about how it took so long to get their items and whatever. And I've also read about Kickstarter. I don't know what campaign runners, people with their own products on Kickstarter, their own campaigns, not making their goals because they offered so much in stretch goals, and then the shipping was so high, and they overstretched themselves, and I know that's not every case. That doesn't happen in every case. There are a lot of successful ones out there, but I didn't want to hit those speed bumps, and I didn't want to bang my head against the wall trying to figure out how I was going to do all that. And also the first 2 campaigns that I put out, I was doing the shipping myself because, like I said, I'm just one person, and I didn't really have the knowledge I needed really to when I first put those 2 out. I hadn't. It's my fault. I didn't research enough about fulfillment companies. How can I get my shipping cheaper? So I contacted a new publisher, a printer, and I asked them, have you dealt with fulfillment companies? And they sent me an email back and said yes, and here's one that we recommend. And I got a hold of that company, and they gave me a couple of charts for U.S. shipping and overseas shipping, and that was a lot cheaper than what I could get it. So I'm like, yeah, I think I'll go with a fulfillment company then. Once I hit my goal, I'll be able to do all this. So
That's awesome. You were able to do some research and whatnot and figure out how to get it cheaper. So that's awesome.
exactly. And the other thing I did too was I kind of kept the price of the lowest pledge at $15 to $25 somewhere in there because I want body count to be accessible to everybody. I see a lot of games that are board games that are $45, $50, which is fine, all the way up to $100 and or more. And I'm like, I can't afford that. I know, and I'm not afraid. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I can't. I don't have deep pockets like that. But I wanted body count to be accessible, so I said, you know what, $15 this time around is good. It's fair. That's enough for me to get this thing printed and get the game out, and then still have a supply, that I can warehouse and then take it into distribution and to take it to shows and do it that way as well. So $15 is it's a 134 piece board game for $15.
Oh, there you go. You can't complain about that. So that's awesome. And word on the street is just at the time of this recording, you just released like a not necessarily how to play, but an actual playthrough of the game on Facebook that people can go watch if they want to. Is that right?
Yes, they can actually. Yeah, what I did was I sat out today, and I had been talking to a few friends about getting together and doing a playthrough. But life happens, sometimes, people get pulled away and everything. And this is Father's Day weekend. And I felt like, I can't wait. I just need to do it. So I sat down at a table and I played a 4-player game, and I played all the players, and it took about 50 minutes. But the first part of the Facebook Live, I explained the game, and I welcomed everybody to the video and talked about the Kickstarter, went right into the game. And then afterwards, I capped it off with the Kickstarter campaign again and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, it was a complete playthrough. So I played until somebody won. Until in fact, it was the Black Pawn that won. So I played all the way through.
So you beat yourself?
I did. To a pulp, yes. I beat myself to a pulp with it. Yep.
Oh, that's good. So it's not one of those co-op games where everybody's trying to get out. Just one winner, is that right?
It's funny you mentioned that. When I first created the game and I first play tested the game with a few people, we tried both different versions. We tried a co-op version and a survival version where it's every man for himself. And I liked both versions, but everybody seemed to like sticking it to each other. Everybody seemed to like being the first one to escape. So I'm really considering doing the co-op rules as an option, because with the co-op rules, if somebody winds up with a weapon they find in a cabin and they want to hand it off to somebody else, they have to meet at the same tile and hand that player a weapon or whatever. And we saw, like I said, we saw that in gameplay and actual on the table, and it was okay, but it just didn't seem as fun as sticking it to the man, sticking it to everybody else. I also played around with a rule where it's every man for himself, where if you wind up on the same tile with somebody, you get to attack that person and try to steal one of their items with a roll off. Basically, both rolling a die, and the highest roll wins, and you get to steal something from somebody else. So that might be an optional rule as well. But that's not written in stone either. even though that was a fun way to play it. But for now, at the moment, the way it is a survival game. It's a one man versus everybody. You're all in it for yourselves.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. Like usually when I go over to my game group, all their escape games, they're usually like co-op and everybody's trying to go for it to get out themselves. Everybody's like all working together. And in our family, we prefer a much more take that games as opposed to co-op games. So you got me a lot more intrigued than I was beforehand, Game Master Jay.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, I like the games where you're in it for yourself, and maybe it's a little selfish streak in me. I like games like Pandemic. I don't know if you played Pandemic, but Pandemic's a co-op game, and you're all working together to stop viruses from taking over the world and infecting the world. But I like the games where it's every man for himself. And like I said, when we've played Body Count where it's every man for himself, it is so funny to see everybody trying to get away from Hank and try to be the first one to get to that pickup truck and escape. It's a lot of fun when somebody finally does it. It's a blast. I love losing the game. I really do. I don't like winning it. I like to lose it.
Well, that's good for me because, usually my family, my wife and kids usually beat me at games. So that's good if it's fun to lose as well for me.
Oh, yeah. It's fun to lose because the way I designed the game, there's an element of intensity in the game, and suspense. You're on the edge of your seat because if you watch the playthrough on Facebook that I did today, you'll see Hank pops up in the game constantly. You never know where he's going to be. Now I'll give you your listeners a rundown on the game. Hank is Hackin' Hank. Now, Hackin' Hank is the serial killer in the game, and you are the game is played on a 16 tiles, 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch square tiles. They're laid out 4x4 on a 4x4 grid, and the only tiles that start up face up in the game are the start tiles. All the other tiles in the game are face down, and these tiles represent different locations in the campground. And in order to get to a different location, you have to flip over that tile and move to it. So you don't know what tile you're flipping over. It could be a forest, it could be a cabin. You don't know where you're going from one square to the next. And now Hackin' Hank, the way he moves, he gets a turn after each player. So after you go, then Hackin' Hank goes, and then my turn happens. And when after my turn happens, then Hackin' Hank gets a turn. So Hackin' Hank gets a turn, constantly. So the way Hackin' Hank moves through the campground, he's got his own deck, Hackin' Hank's deck. And when it's your turn, and let's say you flip over a cabin tile, and you move to that cabin tile, and you search the cabin. The way you search a cabin is you draw cards off of a search deck. You're trying to find items that will help you survive. You got hatchets and baseball bats and knives to fight off Hank, but you also have your bandages and first aid kits to help you heal up in case you get damaged. But the golden ticket item that you're looking for is the pickup truck key. There's a truck key in the cabins, and once you find that truck key, you hang on to it because somewhere in the campground, one of those tiles that you flip over is a pickup truck. And if you find the pickup truck or you move to it and you play that key card, you escape and you win the game. But there are other things you can find in those cabins as well, and they're body parts. They're going to be, in fact, I just changed those cards from body parts to victim cards. They're going to be victim cards. So if you find one of Hackin' Hank's victims, that card can do something to you. You might miss a turn. Hackin' Hank might show up and attack you because you freak out and you scream. You might freak out and lose your flashlight. So every player starts the game with a flashlight. So flashlights help you search better in a cabin. They also help you peek at a tile before you move to it. So in Hackin' Hank's deck, when his turn comes up, the way you move him is when it's your turn and your turn is over and you've searched and you've moved. Now you get to draw one of Hackin' Hank's cards and you flip it over. And if his card corresponds with a location that you're in the campground, he shows up and attacks you. So every card in his deck corresponds with a space somewhere on the board, with the exception of one space, and that one space is the softball field. The softball field is the one space on the board that he cannot attack you. So, because the softball field is wide open, you would see him coming a mile away. He can't hide there, but he can hide in the forest, and he can hide in a cabin. So, flipping over one of his cards tells you where he's at in the campground. So he's constantly moving around the campground and attacking everybody.
Yeah, so I'm really intrigued, Game Master Jay. It sounds like a really fun game. And word on the street is you're doing a giveaway with us for the giveawaygeek.com. What can you tell us? What are you giving away exactly and everything?
Well, the campaign is successful. It's going to be a copy of the game, and with the game on Kickstarter, there's going to be all the Kickstarter backers are getting an expansion pack with the game as part of the core game, and the expansion pack is the Lake Hackaway expansion pack. Now, the Lake Hackaway expansion pack won't be available in the retail version of the game, but I want to do a giveaway where if the campaign is successful, your giveaway will include that Lake Hackaway expansion pack.
Okay, awesome. So the game and the expansion pack. Okay, so that's awesome. Yeah, I'm very intrigued by the game or whatnot. It sounds like a really cool game. So you don't overpromise and underdeliver. Somebody goes ahead and they back body count. When would they anticipate getting it so they can try to be the first one to the truck and not end up getting hacked by Hank Hackaway?
Well, I've got everything pretty much done and designed and ready to go to print. And with if there's no glitching, my printer can have everything turned around within a month and a half or so, and then it'll get shipped back, of course. And as long as there's no hangups in customs and my fulfillment company can get it, I have actually set the projected delivery to be in October. I want people to get it in time for Halloween. That's the goal.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'll just say, so I might be able to play this for Halloween?
Yes, I hope so.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds really cool. So that's awesome. So yeah, anybody listening, make sure you check out the campaign as well as the giveaway we're doing. We'll maybe leave links for both of those in the show notes and everything. Now, when it comes to Body Count, Terror Camp, Hackaway, board game, Game Master Jay, what makes your game pop is one my audience should go check out. And if they like what they see, back it on Kickstarter today.
It's got a unique element to it. Now, of course, we all see tile games. Zombies is a perfect example with the tile laying. You have to lay down a tile and it's to build the pathway to go where you need to go. Another one like that is I think it's Forbidden Island. That's another one, a game that I used to play that I really liked, where it's tiles that you have to flip. And body count, there's no board. The board is actually these 16 square tiles, with the escape element and the horror element, of course. And of course, there are horror games out there. My game doesn't have the miniatures. I didn't want to do miniatures because I didn't want to jack the price up. The biggest draw for the game is the intensity. Like I said, like I just described about Hack and Hank being all over the board. It makes it fun. It's a dash. It's a mad dash to get away from this guy and survive. And I think another good selling point is the fact that it's only $15 on Kickstarter. You can't go wrong for $15. It's a fun game. If you watch the playthrough, you'll see it. Oh yeah, I'm having fun playing it, but just by myself. I'm having just a blast with it. The replayability is very high because the board changes in every game. It's not like you're going to open up a regular board game like Life and the same track is always there. The campground changes from game to game constantly because every game you shuffle up a new board and you deal them all out face down and you never know where you're going to go. So it's always a mystery of what's happening in the game with locations and stuff. And another really cool little mechanic, thing of the game here is the pawns. Now, when you get damaged by Hank, the way Hank attacks you, he has to roll a D10. And for those who don't know what a D10 is, it's a 10-sided die. I'm sure most. But you roll a D10, and a roll of a 1 through a 5 is a successful attack from Hank. So he does damage to you. And when he does, you get these little red rings that go over the neck of your pawn. And that's how we keep track of damage. And everybody who has played the game love that little feature. I think it's so unique. In a short game, a fast game is 3 strikes and you're out, and a longer game is 5 strikes and you're out. But they like that little mechanic. It's kind of unique. You can't do that with a miniature. You can't. So, and to do miniatures, I would have had to pay somebody to design them, and they got to pay for the mold, and the price of the game would have gone up. So I just want to keep this as simple as possible. Plus, the size of the box, fits really neat on your shelf. And if you're a child of the 80s, you grew up with VHS tapes, the size of the box is the exact size of a VHS tape. So I designed it, the box art itself, to look like an old movie old VHS movie cover. So this got the tears in it and everything. It's all part of the box design.
Oh boy, now you got me intrigued again with something else. Oh boy, you keep on doing it to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would think that I would hope that the appeal in the game would be like I said, the Hack and Hank hopping around all over the board, and the $15 price tag. It's just it's cheap thrills. You can't get anything like that on too often. Even at a big chain store, it's hard to find a board game under $20 in a big chain department store unless they're on sale.
Yeah, most definitely, and it doesn't look like the goal is too out of this world. You're going for $6,000, so that's awesome. And now, so anybody listening, make sure you go ahead and check out the giveaway as well as the Kickstarter, which will be on there through the 4th of July, so you can play Body Count. Now, minus coming there to Michigan to stalk you, how would people go about keeping up with you and what you have going on with your games, Game Master Jay?
You can catch me on Facebook. And on Facebook, you can actually follow the game at Body Count, Terror Camp Hackaway. Just do a search for it. You can also find me. I'm Jeff Bryan, JEFFBRIAN, on Facebook, and in parentheses you'll see Game Master J right below my name. I couldn't use Game Master J. Facebook wouldn't let me to use that as my real name, so I had to use my name.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, if you give me the links, I'll get those in the show notes so people can go ahead and do that as well. Now, we don't want to keep you all night, Game Master Jay, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief with us to talk all about Body Count, Terror Camp Hackaway board game. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you, man. Yeah. I think my next board game, I'm gonna keep it horror. I've got 9 other board games that I've created that are in the developmental stages or playtest stages, but I'm gonna keep it horror because I'm not only a horror nut, I'm a horror author too. I write and publish horror fiction, and this board game was just the next natural progression, I guess, in that evolution, keeping it all creepy. So
awesome. How can they find your books and stuff?
That is authorofhorror.com. That's my website for my books. Authorofhorror.com. I've got 3 books out right now. 2 of them are horror story collections, and the third one is a Cowboys and Zombies novella called The Dead Reckoning.
And word on the street is it's not necessarily family friendly, but you either are coming out with the podcast or something in that. It was pretty funny, but something along those lines as well, maybe.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the Tony Mangelli show. That's not going to be family friendly. I have to give you a little disclaimer there. The Tony Mangelli show is a podcast I've been working on writing and producing, and it's about this little guy named Tony Mangelli, and he uses his podcast to try to hustle people out of money. It's a sitcom, basically, is what it is. Everything that happens on the show, happens in his life, happens on his show in the studio. I do all the voices on the show. I write the show, I produce it, and everything.
Awesome. Yeah, I listened to it on Facebook. Is it going to be on iTunes at some point?
I don't know. I've had a couple of offers. Well, I've had an offer, not a couple. I've had an offer from a podcast network here in Michigan. Offer me a contract for the show. I'm still looking over the contract. We're going to be in negotiations because they want an exclusive contract, and I'm not really sure if I want to do that. And then my rep, he's going to San Diego Comic-Con this year, and he wants to take the show there to see if he can't maybe get some interest out there at that Comic-Con for the show. And if that happens, then the show, hopefully we can sign something, contract, and get the show up on the air and go forward with it a lot further than just being a podcast. It'll be a live action of some kind. And my idea for the live action actually would be...
Oh, there you go. You'll have to keep me in the loop.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because my idea for the live action would be either animated or a puppet show. I would want to make it. Actually, Tony Mangelli would be the only puppet on the show. All the other characters that come on the show would be live people. Tony would be the only, ill-tempered, foul-mouthed puppet. So he's a jerk.
I like what I heard. It sounded pretty cool. But like I said, it's not family friendly.
Oh, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's not family friendly, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Awesome. But like I said, we don't want to keep you all night, but we really appreciate you coming on Getting Geeky with Game Relief with us tonight to talk all about Body Count, Terror Camp Hackaway, the board game that'll be on Kickstarter through the 4th of July. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate this. This is awesome. I've heard some of your podcasts, and I really enjoy it. ever since you hit me up to it. I really enjoy the show. Good show, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Wow, that was great sitting down with Game Master Jay to talk all about Body Count Terror Camp Hackaway board game. Now I'm even more intrigued to play it than I was before. If you felt the same way, make sure you run on over and back Body Count Terror Camp Hackaway board game today so we can see it reach reality. Plus, don't forget to check out our giveaway over at thegiveawaygeek.com or the show notes of this episode. But first, if you're still with us, and I hope you are, thanks for being so patient. You know what? For your patience.
A Dogs of the Galaxy 140 gift card.
Not 140 gift card. They're giving them a $100 gift card to one lucky winner. Am I right?
I thought it was 100.
Yeah, well, it is 100, but you said like 140. Bad Arena Leaf was so excited she forgot to tell you that gift card will be for Amazon. It's only like 2 or 3 days. Well, yeah, it ends the 20th, so head on over to the Giveaway Geek and check it out now. Now, where are we going, Bad Arena Leaf?
Kickstarter Corner! What is this place? What is it doing here in the Leaves computer? Oh, it's Kickstarter Corner with the Leaves.
Have you been preparing for the zombie apocalypse? You might be just about ready for it, but are you ready for the final minutes of said apocalypse? I didn't think so. Then you're going to need this new game, Final Minutes, the Zombie Apocalypse, which is a board game that puts your survival instincts to the test. If you like gaming and you like a challenge where skill and chance are both involved, then you will like this game. If you are also one of those select few who doesn't want to be eaten by the zombies, then Final Minutes, the Zombie Apocalypse, is definitely for you. Don't be like those people in the Midwest when a storm is scheduled to come to town that are scouring the grocery store for everything they need to get through the storm, because when the zombies come, the weather guy isn't going to be forecasting such things. So head on over to Kickstarter and back Final Minutes, the Zombie Apocalypse today, because I really don't want them to eat your brains.
If I were a zombie, I'd never eat your brain. I just want your heart, yeah, I don't want your heart, I just want your heart, yeah. Oh, if I were a zombie, I'd never eat your brain. I just want your heart, yeah, I don't want your heart, I just want your heart, 'cause I want you.
Or I guess in that instance, we could save your heart. Either way, don't miss out and back Final Minutes, the Zombie Apocalypse today. I'm going to have John the Creator on the show, so make sure you tune in or come back and listen to my Final Minutes episode to save your brain or heart, as Stephanie Maybe so eloquently puts it in that rendition of the zombie song. The Qualic Report. Time is running out. The constant centuries of war and pollution have taken their toll on our home of Anthobrae. Your people are counting on you to save them. Gather the resources you need, build your ship, and escape before it's too late. Only one civilization will survive, and the clock is ticking. Did that sound familiar, you guys? It didn't to me either, but this is a story of Last Days of Anthobrae. Apocalypse. It's a strategy, resource gathering game where the planet falls to pieces beneath your feet, and the first to build a ship and escape wins. Had some tech issues with them, in which we're working to resolve so you can enjoy my interview with the creators. It takes what we love from No Escape the game and adds some more depth to it, in my opinion. Last Days of Anthobrae brings together a myriad of familiar mechanics that collate into an exciting and unique gaming experience. With a modular board and 5 different civilizations to pick from, no game is ever the same. The game starts with a slow burn to help prepare your civilization for the perils ahead. Throughout the game, tiles are flipped and removed as Anthobrae literally crumbles beneath your feet. Every 5 rounds, the danger increases as the world falls apart faster and faster, and the odds of tragedy befalling your scouts grows ever more likely. For 2 to 5 players ages 12 and up, 30 to 45 minutes per player. Be on the lookout over at thegiveawaygeek.com, as well as these show notes once it's up, for a giveaway they're running with us, and back the game. Last Days of Hackaway Apocalypse before the 29th of June, so you can be the first one off the planet of Hackaway once the apocalypse is going on. Have you seen Sprocket, the game that just launched a Kickstarter? It looks awesome. You each get a card from a different level and build the object it asks you to. The first one who builds it in complete form and dings the bell proceeds to the next round or next level, and they'll get a harder card. It reminds me of Ubongo that we played in game group, except the pieces are 3D, and play gets harder the further you proceed. Their Kickstarter video shows and tells you exactly how to play. It looks pretty fun. Plus, we're teaming up with them to do a giveaway over on thegiveawaygeek.com. Plus, we'll be doing an interview with them as well. So, in the meantime, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss that show. And also, in the meantime, go watch their video and check out the game and back Sprocket, the game, before Tuesday, the 9th of July. From proud backers of our Kickstarter campaign, Casual Game Revolution, the Casual Game Insider magazine will be returning to Kickstarter for its 8th year on June 25th. For only 2 weeks, you can get great deals on annual and lifetime subscriptions, back issues, and advertising. They will also be announcing a new feature that you won't want to miss. Casual Game Insider has been receiving high praise from gaming media since the first issue in 2012. It has been called the best board gaming magazine on the market by several reviewers, a magazine that is serious about quality, by Purple Pawn, and a great resource and fun read by the Spiel podcast. Bezier Games has praised its super accessible format that's both welcoming and engaging. And Ultra Prowl says the paper quality and production quality are just flat out better than most publications in tabletop. Find out what all the hype is about at casualgamerevolution.com/Kickstarter. I just found another miniatures game as well. Slightly 30 years ago, I thought these years would be more awesome than they are. We still don't have flying cars nor real hoverboards, but I still am a die-hard true and blue fan of Back to the Future. So, about 30 years in the future from now is Omnicore Protocol. If our world doesn't turn out like this come 30 years from now, I won't be as sad as the lack of Back to the Future tech has made me. Omnicore Protocol is an intra-apocalyptic squad-based arena combat miniatures game for 1 to 4 players with a third-party enemy that your opponent controls. There's 4 great factions to choose from. My favorite from the looks of it would have to be the one with a huge elephant named Jugger and Bob the Bear. Let's make this game a reality by backing it on Kickstarter before Thursday the 20th of June. Make sure you subscribe to the show so you don't miss the episode in which I sit down to chat about this awesome looking game. We teased about this during our sponsor spots, so here you go. Both Thundergriff Games and Phase Shift Games are running a very successful Kickstarter campaign for the new game Dungeon Drop. Dungeon Drop is an instant dungeon, infinite possibilities, a delightful dungeon crawler for 2 to 4 players. Gather your gear and prepare to dive into the labyrinth. Teeming with untold treasure, the tunnels are said to be inhabited by unusual creatures, both adorable and terrible. Keep your wits about you as the very walls shift into the torchlight. It's time to drop into the dungeon. It's the dungeon crawl that you won't need an actual board for your game. Go check out Dungeon Drop's Kickstarter now. Hopefully, we'll get Jason on the show to talk all about it. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our Dungeon Drop episode. And either way, make sure to check out Dungeon Drop and back it before the 3rd of July. He stood squinting in the noonday sun, the braggart youth in front of him with something to prove. Hey, old-timer, how long has your pine box queen measured up for? Came the shrill voice from down the road, the ineffective taunt barely covering the shake in the kid's voice. Longer than you've been breathing, child, came his gruff reply. Jones noticed the kid twitch and reached for his rusty shooting iron. Did that sound familiar to you? Don't worry, we're here so it will. It's part of the story of Six Gun Showdown. Six Gun Showdown is a quick 5 to 10 minute game where players are characters in a Wild West shootout. The game combines strategy, memory, and a dexterity element, like a quick draw that serves to generate tension and guides the players to read their opponent's actions, really immersing them into the feeling of being in a shootout. Designed as a small box game that is as quick to learn as it is to play, Six Gun Showdown can be enjoyed as part of a board game night, either as a quick game between other games or run as a small tournament of linked games. Players can choose one of 6 characters that each have their own deck of cards and unique dice that require different strategies to be successful. This gives Six Gun Showdown layers of tactical depth that will have you playing the game again and again. Go back the quick draw card game for those with nerves of steel, Six Gun Showdown, before Friday the 5th of July, and make sure you're subscribed to Getting Geeky with Game Relief so you don't miss my sit down with the mastermind of this game when we have our showdown episode. If you had to add a classification to my video game tendencies, you could say I'm more of a retro kind of guy. Or just old, as the family likes to call me. So, my favorite gaming system of all time is the original Nintendo Entertainment System. I also love me some Tetris 99. I've been playing a lot of that on the Switch. They recently had an event in which if you scored 100 points, you get Tetris in the theme of Game Boy. Game Boy Tetris. Wow. I got it and am loving it. So, when I saw a Dungeon Royale board game, I was quite pleased. Reason being, the box is in the shape of, you guessed it, a Game Boy from back in the day. I've got to have it. I'm not the only one who feels that way either. It reached its funding goal in a measly 2 hours and 1 minute. They were going for $8,000 and are sitting at just over $46,000 at the time of this recording. Dungeon Royale board game is a video game turned board game. First game cartridge of the series to come. Full of death, stealing, heroes, and dragons. It's like a video game, but it's not. This is an all-out battle royale to see who will win the victor's spoils and exit with the Stone of Life. And you can tell your mom it's not a video game, but it kind of is. You move through the dungeon at the same time you attack each other with magical, powerful, or crude weapons. You try to level up before your opponents, and you even die and then respawn like a video game. You will steal artifacts and treasures from each other, and of course at times you'll run away from the destructive dragon. And did I tell you, the box it comes in is awesome sauce? Well, it is. Intrigued? I thought you might be. Run on over right now and check out their Kickstarter campaign and back Dungeon Royale board game before Thursday the 20th of June. Plus, if I can align my cards right, I'm hoping to be able to get them on the show so we can find out more. So make sure you're subscribed to Getting Geeky with Game Relief on your favorite podcast app so you never miss an episode.
Ignite is a simple, mechanically themed card game with board game elements. The goal is to destroy your opponent's forge before they destroy yours. Each player is given a game board and a 30-card deck full of minions called a forge. The game plays similarly to other games in the genre. Cards have attack, health, and cost values, but the rules are less complicated and more fun, making it easier to start and harder to stop. The main mechanic of the game is Ignite, of course. In this game, your bots will ignite, hopefully, many times. How will they ignite? With these 2 dice. When your bot ignites, simply roll the Ignite dice to determine which target you hit and for how much. The damage corresponds to the card's Ignite values. This makes the game fun and chaotic, but fear not. To win, you must power up your bot's Ignite abilities with your other cards, the Forgelings. Forgelings are mischievous, trigger-happy, goblin-like creatures that live in your forge, and they work well with your bots. Forgelings upgrade your bots, help them ignite multiple times in random explosions, or provide powerful, game-changing effects. The Ignite decks are expertly designed to make every game uniquely exciting and crazy, and to make combining cards simple and fun. To add more players, just sit in a circle and your Ignite effects hit both neighboring players. So, what are you waiting for? Want to ignite your bots already? Help bring Ignite to life, and we'll provide you with a portal to the world of bots and forgelings. Not to be played within 10 feet of combustible materials. A game of crazy combos and epic explosions. Kickstarter coming June 2019.
If you liked any of the games we talked about in today's episode, make sure you check out their Kickstarter campaigns to show them and us a little love. Backing them goes a long way. Plus, make sure to stay up to date on all the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. There will be at least 2 to 3 new giveaways going live over there next week. It's our least favorite time as well as yours. So until next episode, make sure you go ahead and get geeky, stay geeky, and bring others in the geek fold by sharing our episodes with others, as well as keeping up with the giveaways we're doing over at thegiveawaygeek.com. Gamer Leaf out.
Gamer Leaf levels up. Tune in next week to see if Gamer Leaf's luck holds up.